Oh man, so yesterday former CEO of BT, Debra went on Good Morning America and tried to slip past his information to act like everyone knew this shit, but she detailed that her and BT founder Bob Johnson had an affair in which they both cheated on their spouses. Now, she also stated that the affair led to much more issues with their working relationship, which makes me wonder, is it fair to say that this affair led to the fall from grace of BET? Hold that thought and check out what Miss Debra had to say.
Well, I wanted to tell that story because the power dynamics are so important in a relationship, and especially if you're having a relationship with someone you work for.
Right.
And we all know the potential pitfalls. I worked for Bob Johnson for 10 years before we had a personal romantic relationship, and he was a mentor and he pushed me, and he's responsible for a lot of my success. We did have a relationship while we were both married. We ended up both divorced, and then people knew about the relationship. The company knew, public, we started going places together. The downfall of a relationship like that is if you want to get out of it. And that's the part where it came, and I wanted to break up. I saw it wasn't a long-term relationship, and my job and my career was held over my head. And it was like, well, if you want to break up with me, then you can leave tomorrow. And that was, 20 years into my career at BET, so I would have lost everything.
Yeah.
I would have lost my career, my job, my ability maybe to get another job, because if I couldn't get a reference for the person I worked for 20 years, how do I explain that? And by that time I was a single mother with 2 children. So it was a tough time, and I didn't have anyone to talk to about it because I didn't have female role models. There weren't a lot of women ahead of me. I was embarrassed to talk to my family about it. So it was a dark time, and what saved me was therapy. And eventually Bob left the company and I became CEO. And I was CEO for 13 years without him being there, and I was able
A lot of success.
Right, and to live my dream, and without any form of harassment. So I guess after Me Too and Time's Up, I wanted women to know there's other kind of harassment. It's not all a man coming to the door in a robe.
So basically, what you're telling me is Bob Johnson handed over Black Entertainment Television to his side piece, who then eventually ran the company into the ground. Now that sounds harsh. That sounds really, really harsh. I'm sorry. It's a lot of lady CEOs that do their damn thing when it comes to running companies, you feel me? And I hate to simply make that point, but come on. Once the transition was completed and you could tell the difference between the two administrations, the network struggled under the leadership of Debra as the CEO. When she was the vice president or the COO, everything ran smooth. But when she was the CEO and you seen things transition into what she wanted to do, we seen some issues. Now, some of those struggles could be associated with a failure to adopt to social media in a timely manner, but other networks that produce great content made social media adjust to them. Now, me myself personally, I believe that Debra's issue was the lack of focus for music. Debra's main interest was to create original content like VH1, but BT dominated with being the safe space that produced a lot of content surrounding hip-hop and R&B artists. Now, once that was abandoned and shows like 106 in Park and Rap City were booted off the network, it was tough for BT to remain relevant in everyday culture. Now, in regards to what she was saying about her relationship, if this is true about the pressure that Bob Johnson placed on this lady when she was ready to dump him, then he's fouled for that shit. That's probably why it was in his best interest to allow her to take over when he was done with the company, rather than probably finding the best person available. But hey, he walked away with $3 billion. So I believe that we all suffered the most from that transaction. Now, no smoke towards Debra though. As a member of BET's team since 1986, as far as being the vice president and then the COO, she was a monster. But with the entire operation under her control, things just didn't work out for the best. Interesting to say the least, man. But let me know what y'all say in the comment section below. I'm gonna go ahead and get up out of here though. It's your boy Stacy. Yo.